Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It's October 10th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and this is going to wrap up our weeks. No chart lessons on Fridays. Quick look at our daily chart. You can see that we just kind of had an inside day, uh, mostly just a range day. Looks like we closed near the upper half of the range, but nothing major going on today. Just prices just undulating up and down in a range is basically what we had today. So let's flip over there to the 2000 tick chart and take a look at it, and we'll go through the trades. And here it is. You can see the range. The lows were down around 58.15 or so, and most of their highs were around 58.34. We did push higher and test the overnight highs, and once we started working up here, you would assume that they're going to try to fill this gap, and you can see we not only filled the gap, we actually made a perfect measured leg up. There's two legs up right there, and then we trended back down, got a break, moved all the way to the very lows again. We ended up pushing and failing out the other side slightly before we kind of rallied into the close today. So, and you can see we closed slightly down from yesterday, but we closed back near the highs of the range. So uh, that's how I saw it today. There's several trends within this thing, but let's zoom in and we'll go through the trades. And you had to be patient this morning and wait because there was nothing really happening until after 8 o'clock. We did have this several important economic news items right at 7:30 this morning. All of them came out at the same time. So be flat 15 minutes prior to that. And so that just doesn't really give you a chance to trade anything before that news comes out. And it was about 7:35, 7:36 before you could start trading again. And there just wasn't much happening here. You just kind of had to hold on and wait for something to happen. Now, here's a possibility. I didn't mark this one. You can see though there's a triple test right there, and there is a hidden second entry in there. But we have a break and two legs up. So, but you can see how flat the EMA is. So we're pretty much working sideways here. It's just not a real structured range. So you might take that trade. I went back and forth, and decided against it. But looking at it after the fact, I think you can take that trade. It's a triple test. You can see how flat the EMA is. So prices are working sideways. So it's probably a range. So you're probably okay taking that trade. And there's a second entry here, but no setup. It runs down. And then you get a first entry, second entry, but again, no setup and no close outside of this little micro channel yet. But then you get a close outside, move to a new high, and this breaks higher and fails and turns down, gives you a big bearish bar. Go short right there. And that was a nice move. You got a nice move out of that one. Runs down and makes a new low. It actually breaks below the overnight low. Anytime you get that failed break below the overnight low, you might want to take, you might consider, especially now that you got the break and new low already in place. So you might risk that. The better thing to do is wait on the higher low, which comes here. You can't trade that as an engulfing bar. You got to wait for that to close. Still got room to get out. So you may take that trade on the higher low. I like it. The rest of these, there's just no real chance to enter. This one is tempting as well here, but we're still inside this channel. There's clearly two legs up there. You can see we didn't quite get the measure. Actually, I should probably go here. And you can see we didn't quite make it. So I'm a little wary of going short there. But you do get your break. And you keep working higher here, and you just work up to a new high. I don't see. There's a second entry here, but this signal bar doesn't qualify. Just no chance to get in that. Now, maybe you go low short here. I think this makes it equal high. That one's 34. 34, yeah. But you can still treat that as a new high. It's just a kind of a big bar. But you do have your break in two legs to a new high, and that's pretty much where um, we'd had previous support and resistance. So that's a possibility as well that I didn't mark. You may take that. You may want to take that trade. I wouldn't have a problem with it if as long as you understand it's aggressive. And then we kind of get back in another range, and you can see we've tested these lows multiple times. I like actually taking this one. You actually can't take it on the engulfing bar because it looks too congested. And it is close to the highs. The key is how much room do you have there? And you just do have enough room. I went back and forth about this one, but when you try to go low that many times and fail, and then suddenly you get that little failed breakout, high or low, there's a good chance it may go higher. So I think that one was worth risking. It's real close. You could argue for it to be green as well, and then we're just still chopping sideways here. It breaks lower, and you don't have any close outside that channel yet, so I don't like going long on this bar. It's a big bar too, like 19 ticks. But when you make the little double bottom and then you get that one tick lower that fails and turns up. Now this one you can trade on the engulfing because it's mostly full body. It's not congestion. I like that one a lot, and that turns out to be a nice move, and you can ride that all the way up to the. You'd probably want to exit right there. And then that's your first break, and you get a first entry and then a new low, and when it breaks above that bar, second entry long, go long on that. Then you get a break lower here, and it fails and turns up, and you're probably going to retest this high, and we haven't got back to the highs of the range. So I like trading this one on the engulfing bar. It's a somewhat of a big bar, 18 ticks, so I did make it green. And if you didn't enter there, just let it go. And of course, this turns out to be a great move. And you get your close outside, a couple of legs up, and a perfect measured move, really. So if you want to go short there, again, it's risky. You're better off to wait on the lower high, and you don't get one. It's way down here, which is too far. You do get a reversal here, which is where you'd expect one. So you could trade that bar, and that's another great move right there. So if you entered either one of those, you probably got a runner and a nice move. We drop on down. We trend up, close outside, new high, and a second entry short with a nice signal bar, and then suddenly you get a lower high right here. Trade them both. I like both of those. Boom, off it goes, makes a new low. Then you get a close outside. It looks like it's just going to reverse, and then notice we went and made our low here. So you just, sometimes you don't know when it's going to change, and you just have to kind of play it out. I drew this channel like this. You could have drawn it. It really starts right here, the uptrend. So you could have drawn it like this as well. And in the end, I think that's correct. And you get your break and move to a new high, and then it reverses. I like going long there. It's not a perfect signal bar, but I think it closes close enough to the lows. If you want to take that, you could. If you don't take it, you don't get another chance. And this is what true rejection looks like. Notice when we touch that line, price is just reversed. Boom. But you don't get a setup, unfortunately. And you're working up on your green channel. Turns down. No new high or anything. It just turns down. You get a little spike and channel down. And then at the last minute, it spikes down again. And I think this is a two-tiered channel, right, like it is, and this is an overshoot. Just simply reverses. Now notice there is a first entry and there's a second entry here, but it doesn't tick below, and then you got congestion and you get another small body bar, so you can't go short right there. It still would have worked, but it doesn't really set up well. and then you get this bar. Um, you get a break above it, but I don't like it because it looks a little congested. Um, I think you ought to wait on the higher low, and by the time you get it, it's just congestion. So I don't like entering in there. And if you were gonna enter, maybe you enter here. It's just a first entry though, so I mean, if you're gonna enter, that would be where it is, and I think that's just a tad too early. So, and it still looks a little congested even with that bar. So, I think you're better off just to sit tight. If you'd went long there, of course it works, but I think you're better off to sit tight. I don't think it's worth risking that late in the day. And that takes us into 2:30. So, um, there it is. You had to be patient today. The trades are there, but they're really spread out, so you had to be kind of patient and wait on things to happen. Uh, the market's a little slow. The news gave us a pretty good jolt up here, but it didn't lead to anything much afterwards, so it's just a range day. And it's about a 20-point range. I mean, that's typical of what we used to see quite a bit. A 20-point day, 20, 30 point was a big day. I mean, how 100 points is nothing sometimes. But there was a day when 20 or 30 points was a pretty good move in a day and pretty typical. So this market goes through phases, and so we'll go through high volatility, and then in the volatility it'll get real low again, and then it'll come back. So you just never know. It goes through phases, and sometimes those phases last for a year or multiple years before things settle down. I mean, the high volatility really started up during COVID, and it stayed that way for quite a while. It finally slowed down a little bit, but we're still getting some high volatility here and there. So it's been interesting since the 2020s have been first 3 or 4 years here with the 2020s has been pretty, well, not pretty, but really extremely volatile. So it's just been the way it was. And but it seems to be, I said this before, it seemed like it was slowing down, then all of a sudden the volatility comes back. And I just think at these all-time highs, we're running out of room to go up. The path of least resistance is down, but I don't think they're going to let it sell off until after the election at least. And even then, they're probably going to try to keep it propped up. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, it's just a sideways day, and we've had a bunch of them here lately. We had a pretty good rally yesterday, but last couple of days actually. But we get a lot of this sideways stuff. And we're just kind of chopping up and down sideways. So anyway, I hope you had a good trading day. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm going to come in for just a couple of hours in the morning. I'm going to take off early. One of my good friends passed away this week. He's been suffering from dementia, and it started at a really early age. So it's been a terrible disease, and it's been a struggle for him and his family, but we have a funeral for him tomorrow, and so I'm going to take off mid-morning and for that funeral, and I probably won't come back in, and I'll call it a day. So if you send me anything after 10 o'clock tomorrow, you probably won't hear from me until Monday. So just be aware of that, and hold your emails if you will, and that way I don't come into 100 emails on Monday. 100 extra ones, because I'll get whatever I usually get over the weekend as well. But anyway, yeah, it'll be a short day for me. But I will come in and do the mid-morning chart, and I may trade for an hour or two. But I plan to be out of here by 10 o'clock, 10:30 at the latest, and I'm gonna take the rest of the day off and attend that funeral. So anyway, hope you had a good week. Hope you had a good trading day today. Have a great weekend, and I will see you Monday. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.